Fareway values family, and we treat our employees and our customers like their family.
If you're looking for a place to shop, our service is amazing.
We have put an emphasis on hiring good people.
One of the things that we talk about is just doing the right thing.
And that is so key to this day and age.
Fareway just isn't about selling groceries. It's about taking care of people.
That, to me, is the best thing we can do at Fareway.
This is AEW!
Des Moines, Iowa. On Wednesday, June 12th, All Elite Wrestling presents Dynamite. Get the feeling. As the best professional wrestlers in the world bring wrestling's hottest show to Wells Fargo Arena.
AEW is where the best wrestle.
AEW Dynamite and Rampage. Wednesday, June 12th from Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines. Tickets on sale now at AEWTIX.com.
What does it take to grow beauty and colors more vibrant? More water, the right sun, nutrients. It takes all of that and more. Like family. At Knoyer Garden Center and Glass House Market, family is present in everything we do. Generation after generation. From our family to our employees who make you feel right at home. That's the difference you'll find when you shop Knoyer Garden Center.
Two guys, two Chris's, one network. Iowa Everywhere. It's time for Two Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
Hello, welcome to the program. Welcome to Two Guys here on Iowa Everywhere. My name is Chris Williams. I'm joined as always by Chris Hassel and Maddie Van Winks. Hassel, still in the state of Iowa. When do you head back to Florida? It's soon, right? Today?
Sunday. Going back
okay.
Sunday.
How's Don?
Here. He's doing good. He's in the other room. He's been able to do some walking outside, so all good. You see what's behind me there?
Oh, those the flowers are in the balloons I sent him.
The balloons and the
Those
flowers that you're poisoning his cat with. The cat here apparently loves flowers, and it poisons itself on flowers. So if the cat dies, it's on you.
That would be a ironic turn of events. If
Don was sending out some cryptic tweets last night. I just want to make sure he's okay after that.
What the hell was that? Did you see
do you have
his
him
tweet?
all? Do you have him all drugged up over there? Like what's?
He is on oxycodone.
So Don tweeted, "What time were these, Matt? Can we get the timestamp on some of these?" His first tweet in over 3 months. Okay, Pop. Okay, I'm okay. I'm on.
8:23 a.m. And then at 9:12 he said, because I was like, what the hell is this? Because I wasn't with him last night. I was with my mom, but he said it's the narcotic pain pills kicking in. Hell, I have no clue.
So he responded, like, did you text him and he responded on Twitter?
No, he has no idea. I was asleep. I was here at that time when he posted that, but I was asleep. He has no idea how that happened, what he's doing. I mean, that's not good because, I mean, there's one thing about pocket dialing, pocket texting, but pocket tweeting, bad things can happen.
Well,
5 days in the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
There he is.
They made him
Donnie Hassel.
Take the flowers with him.
Williams' flowers.
So they he's
Missed
like
yourself. Flowers spilled all over.
So
he looks great.
He couldn't leave the flowers there. And they're too
Well,
big
why
to,
would
like,
he leave
throw
the
away.
flowers? Why would he leave the flowers? They're for him to take home.
He
They're
was
to brighten his.
He was tired of looking at the cardinal and gold balloons and the cardinal and gold flowers. So they put him in the wheelchair to wheel him out, and then he said, "Well, just plop those on my lap." And so we did, and they just spilled all. It was totally filled with water and just spilled all over his crotch. And he's wearing, you see those pants he's wearing?
Those
I
yours?
got those pants. They're like pajama pants from Abercrombie and Fitch. I got those when I was in like 8th grade, and he's wearing those.
I was going to say those look like a Walmart special. Like you just, oh shit, Dad needs something in the hospital. I'm going to run over to the Walmart.
A&F, man.
God bless nurses. I bet they had a good time with Don Hassel.
Oh yeah.
Don kept sending me updates. So he's got my number now, and he was sending me selfies and.
Was he really?
Yeah, all sorts of good stuff.
You're in his phone as Chiz Williams.
Yeah. So. Yeah, eventful stuff. Well, I'm glad that you're still over there with Dad, and hope that he keeps getting better. Well, what a eventful 3 days since our last show.
Yeah, we Lisa Bluder was still the head coach at Iowa when we signed off on Monday.
And since then, they've already named a new coach and had the introductory press conference. Now, not a lot of substance because, I mean, we all know who Jensen is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a lot of layers to pull off of this thing, but nonetheless, Andrew Downs and I did a podcast right after this news was announced the other day and gave a lot of the same reaction. But this is a good deal for Lisa Bluder too. I think just the fact that you just can promote from within, that there's somebody who's actually, capable of just taking over. This is honoring Lisa, I think, in a way, to be able to give Jan the job. And it's really, Chris, I just think we're going to keep seeing more and more of this in sports in general with the portal era. Like, we saw it with Michigan. If you can keep these coaches on and you retain players better. And Jensen's been side by side with Bluder from day one to build this thing up. If she wanted the job, I think it was a no-brainer. And excited to see how this goes. I think I'm more excited to see what happens with Lisa Bluder next. Is she actually done? And because I think she could be a television star, especially with these WNBA ratings that we're seeing. Like, to me, like, man, she could be a big hit covering NCAA tournaments for ESPN, doing WNBA things. She could kind of be like a studio version of Holly Rowe, where this respected voice that everybody is, connects with women's basketball. So we'll see. I have no idea. I have no inside information, but Lisa's got the personality where I think she could be a big star in that role.
I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, I think she would have a future in TV if she wanted it, because now she's such a huge name in the sport because of going to back-to-back championships and being the one to coach Caitlin Clark. I think you're right. I think there is an opportunity there if she wants it. I have no idea what she wants other than to get some rest. I mean, these last couple of years, you could tell, took a toll on her mentally and maybe even physically too. They played as many games as you can possibly play in a season, going to the championship in back-to-back years. I was still stunned though. Some people say that, yeah, I thought maybe she'd step away after this year. I
didn't know that.
I'm really surprised.
For what it's worth, I made a few calls to Iowa City, and this was not expected.
No.
I think a lot of people thought, like, oh, this was probably in the works. They were waiting for the portal stuff to get done. And I was told pretty clearly by multiple people that she went on vacation and she came back and was like, hey, I'm out. And again, like, that doesn't mean there hadn't been a talk at some point that there was going to be a succession plan to hand it over to Jan Jensen at some point. That very well could have been. I mean, Lisa's been in the business for 40 years? Like, so she was going to retire at some point. But this wasn't, I think a lot of people got that wrong. I think that she went on vacation and just spent some time with her family and was like, yeah, it's time for me to hang it up. And I also don't think, I know I'm obsessed with this, Chris, but I don't think we can comprehend how exhausting the last few years probably were.
No.
While they were very special, man. Like, I don't think any of us can comprehend how hard it is to keep 19-year-olds on track when they're being treated like the 95 Chicago Bulls. That's really hard.
And just think, and I know we'll talk more about this later, like Caitlin Clark's still going. And Caitlin Clark went through all that herself. She's the one, and she's still going. And that might be some of the shades that we're seeing in the WNBA right now of how difficult that's going to be for her to just try to keep it moving. But as far as the Iowa situation goes, I think there were also people that were surprised that Jan Jensen wanted to be a head coach. And I wonder how much, obviously Lisa Bluder knew. We didn't know. Like, we thought maybe she just wanted to be, the top assistant her entire career, and that she would step away when Lisa Bluder stepped away. Clearly, Lisa Bluder knew she wanted to be a head coach.
Jan's only like 55.
Right.
Lisa's
63, Jan's 55. So she's got many years left if she wants it. Like, is this going to be just a few-year thing? I don't know.
I'm also just thinking out loud here. I don't think I've said this. Lisa, like, if you watched a lot of her press conferences the last 2 years, really since Caitlin became the megastar that she is, and there were a lot of the unfair critiques, and the bombs being lobbed Caitlin's way by Cheryl Swoops. And so Lisa had to go on defense a lot for her player, I thought.
Yeah.
And even when I had her on the CW pod, we talked about this, and like I felt like she took a different, it was like, I'm a really good basketball coach. I built this good program at Iowa, to now I'm a steward of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wonder, like, now if this could be a different phase of Lisa's career where, you don't have to be on the road recruiting like it. But I almost wonder if she can, stupid thumbs up thing. I almost wonder if Lisa now can make an impact on the game that's even larger, just from a national scope. Like, keep an eye on it. The Olympics are coming up. We're talking about all this WNBA hype and I got the numbers right here from the first few games of the WNBA, and like the numbers are crazy. Like, Lisa Bluder could be a hell of a commentator for NBC in the Olympics, right?
Sure.
Like, there's a lot of ways for her to still be in this game that make a huge impact. And it felt like she was defending her player, but I also felt like Lisa was put in the position to really defend women's basketball and like the history and promote it going forward. I don't think she's done.
I wonder how much of the decision had to do with the fact that she wanted Jan to have this opportunity.
Good point.
And James asks, do you think they lose out on Lucy Olson or the stud freshman with the coaching change? And by all accounts, all reports, everybody's staying.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Nobody's into the portal. Olson says she's staying. And they didn't know. Like, they, to your point earlier, that this was not in the works for several weeks or months. Lucy Olson didn't know. The report last night, I can't remember who it was from, said she was stunned. Lucy Olson was stunned that Bluder retired, but she thought about it and she's staying put. She's going to remain with Iowa.
Which is exactly why you promote from within.
That's the continuity.
Yeah.
Like, if you go out and you get Jenny Baranczyk to come in, there's going to be a lot more turnover.
I think the continuity thing in this portal is, we all talk about NIL so much, and the change in it, and it's very important. But I almost wonder if the continuity in these coaching staffs is maybe the most important thing going forward when it comes to retaining players.
Randy Peterson says that it was the logical hire. Give Getz credit for not overthinking it and acting quickly.
Yeah.
And I know Van Winks has a thought on Getz as well.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, we've talked so much about, when they brought Getz in, that she's going to be making some pretty big hires over the next 3, 4, 5 years. Didn't think it would happen this quickly, I think, but Getz actually had a pretty busy week, didn't she? Didn't she fire the gymnastics coach like earlier in the week too?
I think technically the gymnastics coach
resigned.
The old contract not renewed talk.
Yeah, but between that and the surprise announcement from Bluder. She's had a pretty interesting week, and she looks pretty good, I think, from this. And they made it pretty easy on her with Jensen being the natural slide in there. So.
She didn't have to make much of a decision, but you never know with an athletic director, because the athletic director could jump in and say, "Hey, yeah, I know she's been on your staff. I know that's who you want, but I'm gonna make my imprint. I'm gonna make a big hire, my first big splash hire." She didn't do that. She knew that this would be great for the program, and that Jan Jensen has 100% earned this over the years.
And to Randy's point, too, when you make the decision as quickly as she did. So, like, I'll just give you a real-world example. Like, we're in the media, and this happens. It's like 3:30. Aiden tells me, I'm like, okay, we need to go live. Earliest I can go live is 4:30. Let's get it set up. And I start texting people around the industry, hey, do you think Jenny Baranczyk would take this job at this time? Because that's the first person that comes to mind, right? So it's Jan Jensen or Jenny. And by the time, like, I'm even getting texts back, boom, it's over. And leaves zero doubt for any of these players. Like, they know exactly what's going on. Lucy Olson didn't even have time to get because the portal opens once your coach leaves. For 30 days, like, she didn't even have time to get a text from Gino or Emma, right? Like, she knew what was going on at Iowa, and I'm guessing that Jan Jensen was a vital part of her recruitment to Iowa. Sure. So, like, this was very well done. The only question I had, and maybe Randy, if you're listening still and you know the answer to this, we were kind of asking this in our little text chain. Do you not have to, like, interview people anymore? Did we ever find out, is there, like, a clause or something with that?
I think Lystico...
Did Chad dig that up for us?
I thought he got some kind of an answer on that Iowa went out and got a waiver.
Oh, okay.
I guess you can do that. You can petition
because
for
of the
a waiver.
timing, or...
I don't know. Like, to me, I don't know how this is any different other than Jan Jensen being at Iowa for so many years, how it's that much different from the Beth Getz situation.
Yeah, Randy's saying that's weird. I didn't even know that existed.
I mean, why couldn't you just get a waiver for Beth Getz and not have to do the national search
for the Brian
and spend that kind of money?
Remember that Kirk wouldn't even consider hiring the new offensive coordinator until after the bowl game. We've got to get the bowl game over with. The bowl championship.
And then how they do in that bowl game.
These fucking bowl games.
Look out, we've got a new wide receiver transfer to talk about that's going to scare the dickens out of
I'm not trying to be a dick,
Iowa State's
I swear.
defense.
So Iowa gets this new wide receiver, Jacob Gill from Northwestern. I'm thinking, Iowa needs wide receivers. This news breaks last night. And I go and, great, good for Iowa. His career stats, he has 16 catches in 3 years. Last year, he had 1 catch for 11 yards against Rutgers. That was the whole year. He did have a really good 2022, 7 catches for 99 yards and a touchdown. I'm not making fun of it.
You are making fun of it.
I was
100% making fun of it.
Just because it's like we always talk about Iowa wide receivers, right? And I'm like, oh, wow, they went out in the portal and got one. What's this guy bring to the table? I was like, but there you go. You got yourself a new wide receiver. He's got the connection with the new quarterback, so you got that going for you.
Look, it's a guy with a pulse who has played before. They just needed a warm body. Okay?
And he's a veteran.
Yes. He's kind of like Sullivan. Sullivan didn't put up big numbers.
Sullivan's way better than this guy.
Well, he got to play more, apparently. But look,
I have 1 catch.
You could have said this could have been a guy that had 50 catches last season, and I'd feel the same way about it. He's coming into Iowa's offense, have no idea. I mean, I've got a pretty good idea.
We've seen these guys for Iowa that don't do anything, and then like Charlie Jones.
Yeah, and you get a transfer from Ohio State that we do emergency podcasts about, and he doesn't do anything.
Still, one of our most listened to shows was the Caleb Brown emergency podcast. You had your Hawkeye
he didn't even he didn't even make a catch until like game 7 or 8 or something like that. So I feel the same way about it. It's a guy going into the Iowa offense. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he is going to have. I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try. I'm just saying. I don't care. He's a warm body. Okay. They need to fill roster spots at that wide receiver.
It really.
Position.
I'll say the same thing I say about the quarterback. Like in the offensive line, it's their scheme first.
But
their scheme first.
The scheme's different now. Got
the
Lester
motion
in there.
We got all the motion.
They're tricking people's eyes. Oh, did you see the comment from Kirk Ferentz at the iClub event about
I did.
the quarterback
well,
situation?
I only saw this because you sent it to me, so I'm going to let you kind of commentate on this. What do you think about this?
All right. So Kirk Ferentz says, this is the tweet from Chad Leistico, and Doctorman tweeted something similar. Chad tweets, Kirk Ferentz says at Polk County iClub event that Kade McNamara, if healthy, is Iowa's starter at QB. But Brendan Sullivan will have every chance to compete for the job in fall camp. Is that not 100% contradictory?
Yes, it is.
Van Winks?
Absolutely.
Okay. I didn't see many people pushing back on that.
Well, can I just say it one more time? And Draper over at Raygun, if you're watching, print the shirt. Coaches are liars. They just lie all the time.
So he's saying if McNamara is healthy, there is no competition. He's also saying Brendan Sullivan will have every chance to compete for the job. Is he talking about the backup quarterback job? Is that what he's talking about on that second part of it? Because if McNamara is healthy, then there is no competition. Brendan Sullivan could play as well as he possibly could in practice, and he's not going to be the starter if McNamara is healthy.
For what it's worth, I also, when I was making my calls to Iowa City, I have a lot of friends in Iowa City. They like me over there. I was asking one of them about this quarterback. Yeah, I just curious, like, about this situation. What are you hearing? Like, because I don't want to hear him waste everybody's time. Like, right? Like, I'm a professional journalist. Damn it! I'm trying to get information for our audience, and I was told because one of the sources watches the program, and they've seen the Deacon Hill, all of our conversations. And this source swore to me that Deacon Hill was considerably better than the people behind him last year. They're like, Chris. Because my whole thing was like, well, it doesn't matter. This is what I said to the source.
You're saying it's better than Linez?
Yeah, and Labus. Because Labus was there last year. Because I'm going, it doesn't matter, like, because once Kirk has his mind made up about a quarterback, he's just not going to change it unless the guy literally can't walk. And they're like, no, Deacon Hill, as terrible as he was, I'm paraphrasing, stinking dinkin', like they're like, as bad as he was the best option. I still find it hard to believe.
And that is, if that is true, that is as much of an indictment on the Ferentzes.
Yeah, the recruiting and development.
And that coaching staff, the recruiting, the development, that's as much as an indictment as anything.
Because this is a person that doesn't, like, they're not on the coaching staff. There's no reason for this person to lie to me about it, is my point. Like, and it's anonymous. Like, they're not defensive about it. They didn't do anything wrong. Like, it's crazy. Like, I couldn't believe it. But that was my thought when I read this, when you sent this over to me. I go, well, it doesn't really matter because Kirk will play Mac. I have a hard time believing that Sullivan could beat him out. I just, like, with Kirk Ferentz's history with quarterbacks, I have a hard time believing that this Sullivan can beat him out.
But that was asked, and Kirk Ferentz talked about it, because there are a lot of fans that would like to see a true competition. There are a lot of fans who think that's going to happen. I don't. I think it's Cade McNamara if he's healthy. I think it's Cade McNamara even if he's not. If Cade McNamara can go out onto the field in uniform, even if he's 80% limping around, I think he's still the starter. And Sullivan will then move in if McNamara gets knocked out.
I agree.
Knocked out of the game or just can't play. I think if he can limp, if he can throw the football, Cade McNamara is going to be the starter.
Sullivan's got this secret weapon in Jacob Gill now.
Oh, come on.
He's got the old Swiss Army knife in his back pocket.
Could you use him in some running situations, though? It sounds like he can move a little better
Do
than
you
Cade,
really think that's going to happen?
Yeah, motion.
It's not going to happen, okay?
I got sold that bag of goods last year by Iowa State that this JUCO guy was going to come in and be like Joel Lanning. He didn't play a single snap. Coaches lie.
Well, and is Sullivan really that much more mobile than Linez? I find that hard to believe. I think if you're going to do that, it's Marco Linez that should be doing it. He was really mobile when he was there in the bowl game.
My thing is, what is Linez going to, like, there's no way he's here in 2 years then. If he's as bad as, like, I've been told. I don't believe he's that bad, though. Like, that's the thing. Like, I just.
Well, yeah. I mean.
I don't believe it. Like, there's no way. There's no way he's worse than Hill was. There's no way.
You're not buying what your little source in Iowa City is telling you.
I don't know. Like, I don't think this person's lying to me. Like, I think it's probably, like, the coaches of, like. But I don't know.
Sullivan,
but I don't believe that. Like, I've been doing this a long time, Chris. So have you. We've watched a lot of this. How is somebody worse
than
Deacon Hill? Level? Yeah, like at that level. And I'm not trying to pile on the kid. I want him to do really well in life. I hope he does. But I find it hard to believe. Unless you literally like don't have hands and can't take a snap.
It's hard to believe unless he's
unless
just
you're
stump.
a paraplegic. Like, you know, like
he has no arms, no legs. He has to blow the football with his mouth around the field.
Matt, you wanted to jump in. I'm sorry.
We were stepping all over. In like his last 4 games, Sullivan last year, he rushed. He had 16 carries, 14 carries, 14 carries, 15. So
that tells you that their line's terrible at Northwestern last year. Is what that tells me.
Are we going to? People are worried because of the thumbnail that Van Wink created was all Iowa. Everything was Iowa related.
I saw that, and
is there going to be? Do we have any Iowa State talk in this program?
Let me tell you guys, because I get critique from Iowa State fans a lot. They think, oh, you guys talk more Iowa. Here's the situation: Iowa's just a lot newsier lately. Am I wrong?
Well, there's no doubt.
There's just more going on there. Like it got a lot more. And that's a credit to Pollard and Iowa State, I think. I mean, just things are pretty solid right now.
I do want to, at some point, just get your thoughts on the conversation you had with Brad Heinrichs. I listened to that this morning, and I thought that was really good.
Let's do it here in a minute. I want to tell you guys about how Fareway saved my ass last night. God's honest truth. So my daughter's softball team, we had a road trip last night. First road trip of the year. And we're heading to Colfax. Have you ever gone to a softball game in Colfax? It's like freaking going into the big house for a night game.
Let's go Turtles.
Okay. Like the crowd is hostile. They leave the field really muddy because they're trying to slow down the opposition. You know, there's all these home field advantage. Colfax is a nasty place to go. Well, the most important thing about Little League softball is the snacks. Who's got snacks afterwards? Well, it was Cameron's night to bring snacks. And we get there, and my wife turns to me. She goes, "Did you grab the snacks?" Dun, dun, dun. No snacks. I grabbed, I put the juice boxes in the cooler, but I forgot to get the snacks. So we're panicking, and I'm
what constitutes as a snack these days for these kids?
Well, it's got to be no peanuts.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It's got to be. It can't be total trash. Like you're not bringing them a Snickers bar.
Well, thank
God. Bring a granola bar. Yeah, you got to. We're care about Americans.
Well, I was on snack duty on Monday, and we brought like a fruit by the foot or like fruit roll-ups. You know, those little yummy candies.
See, this is why we're the fattest country in the world. What are you doing? Bringing candy.
Bringing apple?
For these kids. Just bring something with some substance.
They're kids.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and they're all going to be obese, Matt.
Remember when we used to have orange slices? Whatever happened to real fruit?
So, anyways, there was a Fareway in Colfax.
Okay,
Colfax
what'd you get?
is like a. She got the. So I had to
you get some
coach.
brisket. You get some pork butt for them.
We got them all chicken grillers to take home to their families. No, got like a box and it had like goldfish and it had, just a variety of kid snack. But my point is Fareway is in these small towns and it saved our ass. So thank you to the Fareway in Colfax. We appreciate that.
It's good to hear. Kurt says you should have brought him some We Will pizza.
How about the We Will jerky? That's the newest.
So that's healthy.
Yeah.
Jerky is healthy, but jerky is so expensive that I never buy it. It's just ungodly expensive.
Yeah, it is. Like, have you ever tried to buy jerky in a gas station?
Yes. Well, that's the only place I ever.
It's like
see jerky
$19.
because I don't go to the grocery store.
4 pieces of jerky.
Yeah, it's $19 for a snack. You're going to eat the whole thing.
I did have Brad Heinrichs on CW Pod this week, and I thought he was awesome. I like the fact that he came into it, and we're just like, yeah, I'm the Cyclone guy, and he knew it, and he was super open. And
the funniest thing I heard
really
on
liked
that
it
was when you were trying to describe your relationship with Bloom to him, and you said, "Yeah, of course, Brett Bloom. Full disclosure, I went to school with him, so I know him, and I kind of know how." You refused to say that you were friends with Bloom.
Well, he knew that.
Didn't say, "Yeah, he's one of my friends." Didn't say, "Yeah, he's one of my best friends." Didn't say, "Yeah, he lives right next door to me."
He knows that
You're
we
like,
do a
"Yeah,
show 2 days a week.
I knew him in college. Full disclosure, I knew the guy.
Regardless, I thought that it was really interesting because I only really know from the NIL side. I'm very familiar with the Iowa State challenges and like where they come from. And I thought it was very enlightening to get like, okay, yeah, Iowa has a lot more money than Iowa State, but now like, they're swimming against the stream.
I thought he came across really well. I thought that, he said that he was disappointed in the way his comments came across in the Pat Hardy article because he's right. Sometimes things, when they come out of your mouth, you think they're going to come across differently than they do. And sometimes in writing, I thought that he did a good job kind of explaining why he said some of those things. He said, "Look, I wasn't lying. It wasn't that anything I said wasn't true. It's just I don't want to be looked at as, I'm not chastising every Iowa fan for not giving. I understand you could afford season tickets, but maybe that pushes you to the brink and you can't afford to give." I thought the most interesting thing, because I didn't know this, was that he said they give the same amount of money to the women's basketball program as they do the men's.
That was a note I took,
He said
too.
it's 80% football, 10% men's basketball, 10% women's basketball.
Which I found fascinating.
I doubt that it's that way in, I don't know, any other program. I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, where would you give the same amount of money to the women's basketball program as you would the men's? I'm guessing it's got to be at least 95% of the country is not that way. 95% of the programs.
Yeah, and the ones that you would think of, and I'm thinking of UConn, I'm thinking of LSU, maybe Tennessee, probably not them anymore.
I don't know.
Where I'm at is I'm guessing that LSU's probably funding women's basketball on its own, meaning that Mulkey's out there finagling boosters and
you think
doing
so?
This.
Okay.
I don't like. I mean, did you read all the Brian Kelly stuff from last week? I mean, if you're Brian Kelly and you're trying to compete against Alabama in SEC football, are you going to be thrilled if the women's basketball program's getting 20% of the money? I mean, I just know how much LSU spends on women's basketball. Like, that money has to come from somewhere. I don't know if like these collectives are all set up like they are here. You know what I mean? Because the laws are different everywhere. And that's one of the things that Brad talked about, like how these SEC schools all have, the legislatures are stacked against Iowa. Like, we don't have the same laws here. We can't do the same things in the state of Iowa.
And I agree with him. Like, why can't you? I would love to see, that money that you put toward the collective also goes to getting your quote-unquote seat license for your season ticket at the football stadium. Like, why can't that be part of it? Why do you need to pay even more? Now, the problem is the athletic department isn't going to want to sign off on that because that's less money going their way.
Correct. They're concerned that they're going to lose their donations.
You asked him, where do you see this in 5 years? And he said, well, he hopes that in 5 years, this thing is pretty much going to be all in-house in the athletic department, if cooler heads prevail. But in that, you have to get the athletes to sign over their name, image, and likeness to the school so that they can get the money from the revenue sharing. But is there going to be enough money where someone is going to say, yeah, that's worth it? I don't think so.
If I'm the punter, if I'm pretty much
unless you're the Iowa punter.
If I'm like a normal student athlete, absolutely I sign my
Yes, but if you're a 5-star quarterback,
nope,
coming in.
If I'm Audie Crooks, I wouldn't give Iowa State my name, image, and likeness.
Mm-hmm.
She's not going to get fair value because there's too many mouths to feed on the corporate side, right? It's not a lot different than media. There's too many mouths to feed. It's about overhead. She's worth more than what she can get in that scenario. There's nobody on Iowa State's campus worth more than Audie Crooks right now. As far as pure name, image, and likeness. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about pay for play, right? Mm-hmm. Clearly, like, the quarterback is always going to, but if it's real name, image, and likeness, let's say, the media partners with the school go out and sell $100,000 deal for this mega star to endorse a company. Okay. The max that player is probably going to get is 20% of that. Where right now it's set up great. They get everything from these collectives.
Yes.
So, no, I wouldn't. I would be really choosy about that if I'm a student athlete.
So where do you think it goes? Do all of the athletes have to agree, or this isn't going to work? Or are you just going to have some that say, thanks, but no thanks? I'm going to do stuff on my own. And then the fans will be asked to pay those athletes who say no.
I'm starting to feel like that might be the way it's going.
I agree.
Yeah. You and Dobb pointed that out to me, and I just... I'm telling you, there's too many mouths to feed, not just at the athletic departments, but you're also talking about, let's say it's Learfield, right? Like, Learfield has hundreds of employees, and they're trying to put on these productions all over it's an expensive business to be in. They got these huge contracts. They can't sell $100,000 deal or $50,000 deal, whatever, and then give 80% of it to the athlete. That's not. And then you're going to have agents involved, right? Like, there's
sure.
The
agents, what the agents are going to do is they're going to say to these, whether it's a highly rated recruit or a big time transfer, they're going to say, well, dude, we can make so much more money if you don't sign it. Now, Randy Peterson points out, Steve Kemp points out, Pollard said last week that, if you don't sign, then you're probably paying your own tuition. You might have to pay your own insurance. So that's something to think about.
What if they don't have to go to school, though? Like, there's a lot of questions. I hope that they have to go to school, but there's these are club teams,
there's
right?
Still so much to figure out. I just do not believe that fans are going to stop paying the players anytime soon.
I would say, because Steve asked, doesn't that put Audie Crooks at odds with the school? To me, that's on the school because she's going to have plenty of options. That's where these schools can get creative and be like, I'm telling you, this is going to be a thing. But it's going to be such a small percent. It's the Caitlin Clarks. It's the Cameron Brinks. It's the Caleb Williams.
But you know the inflated sense of self-importance that a lot of these, you would call them, we would call them, middle-of-the-road players, whether it's, all the basketball players who think they're going to go to the NBA, it's just like that. They're going to think that they're worth so much more.
Well, let's take Tamin Lipsey as a first-team All-Big 12 player. He would be better off signing this. His name, image, and likeness is not worth giving that up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you get what I'm.
Well, it also depends.
Paige
how much
Beckers would be better off.
How much are
going
you
on
actually going to get? When all is said and done, if you sign in and you're part of this revenue sharing, how much are you going to get? I think one of the big problems is going to be they have to spread it around to so many different people, especially on a football team.
Yeah.
Where the amount of money you're going to give one of your stars, I don't think is going to be that much different from the amount of money you give a I don't know, starting nickelback or a backup cornerback.
That I don't either. Yeah, I agree with you.
I also thought it was interesting when...
Good luck telling Caleb Williams that.
Right.
When
you said to Brad, and you can listen to that podcast at Iowa Everywhere, the CW pod.
Yep.
That you think that maybe you start limiting the number of scholarships on the football team. And he actually thinks that it's going to go the other way because coaches believe there should be more players. And I'm sure they do believe that, but come on. Like Pollard has said this on the Murph and Andy show and elsewhere that, when they start having to, the revenue sharing and look, I'm not going to pay more than 50 guys. Like, why am I going to pay for 85 guys or 100 guys? Right now there's like 100 players in the football team, 100 plus.
Yeah.
Pollard said, if I've got the money and I'm not paying that. I'm going to pay for like the NFL. I'm going to only pay for the amount of guys that we need to have a team, which is 53, whatever.
And I'm assuming Title IX is still a thing going forward.
Will Title IX
I don't know.
be
I'm
a
assuming
part of
it
football?
Is.
I don't know.
I'm assuming it is, but
and if that's the case,
let's just do that for the sake of conversation.
Sure.
If you can cut out 15 scholarships that are men's scholarships, you're probably going to be able to save a golf team or a rowing team or whatever. But I also realize that the majority of people are not coming from this caring about that like I do, right? Like this is a money-driven industry, and I completely understand and respect that. I just if these players can transfer everywhere whenever they want, like you don't need 85 scholarships anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And what it would do, it's going to make football stronger. So you got the Big Ten and the SEC, and they already got every advantage known to man, paying the guys more. This is going to make the Big 12 and the ACC stronger because there's 15 fewer guys at all those schools. So they trickle down. And then it makes FCS better, right? Like, because there's, I don't know. Who knows if it actually happens. Here in the Channel Seed studios, shout out to our farmers over there at our seedsmen. It's been a hellish couple of weeks here with all this rain, so I hope you guys are able to get into the fields coming up this weekend. It looks like it's going to be nice. I also want to thank a new sponsor that we're going to be telling you about here on Iowa Everywhere, Game Day Men's Health. I'm not going to lie to you. My buddy Bill owns these across the state of Iowa, so we've got locations in Ankeny, West Des Moines, and over in North Liberty. And I was a little skeptical going into this because I'm 39 years old. I feel fine. I'll give it a shot for my guy Bill. Went in there. This place is amazing. The just professionalism. You walk in there, the one in Ankeny at least. It's the only one I've been to, Hassel. And there's just framed jerseys of quarterbacks from our era everywhere. You got Elway, you got Montana, you got all these guys. It's just badass. It's like you're walking into a man cave. They give you a free...
Give them your Spencer Petras autographed jersey and have them put that up.
We actually... true story here. We purchased the frame for that jersey to go up in the studio. It has not been framed yet, but it will be here in the next week. So I will send you a picture of that. No, but at Game Day Men's Health, one of the biggest things that they do is they let you come in and do a testosterone test, and they do like your blood work and everything for free. And they give you a free consultation. So let's say you go in there and everything's fine and you don't need their services. Great. You know that, and you get to leave. But if not, they've got their doctors in there who can help recommend ways to make you feel better. And damn, I'm turning 40 this year. Did you know that? I'm turning 40 next month.
I am too. Not next month, but in December.
Jesus, look at us. You ever think we'd get to this? But anyways, Game Day Men's Health. I'm going to keep telling you about my experience with it. I go to the one in Ankeny. There is one in West Des Moines as well, and also in North Liberty. And I even looked it up, Hassel.
Mm-hmm.
There is a Game Day Men's Health in Delray Beach, Florida.
Really?
We're one right down the road from you. I looked it up on maps.
Did you find it interesting, though, that when Van Wink was cycling through everything on the website, that he just kept going back to the erectile dysfunction page?
It's a thing.
How long did it take them to fix yours?
They did not, thank God. That's the one thing at Game Day Men's Health that I wouldn't want to mess with. But some guys, man, and they give you a shot down there.
Oh, right in your tip?
Is how it works. I don't know how it works. I didn't ask. But yeah, they got everything. They can do everything, and it's just for guys like our age and a little bit older. So give them a shot. Really good local ownership here. My guy Bill Morris in Ankeny, I've known him for almost 20 years. He's a really good dude. So let's go and support them and thank them for supporting what we do here on Iowa Everywhere. Also, Maddie Van Wink's a big weekend coming up at Wells Fargo Arena. This is one of the best weekends I remember at Wells Fargo in a long time, with a back-to-back Cody Johnson, Justin Moore tomorrow night. I will be there. And then Nate Bargatze on Saturday. I think he is one of the best comedians going right now. Like, to me, he's like a little bit of Seinfeld in it. We talked about that. This is a massive weekend. We're going to have a lot of people going through the arena.
It's crazy when you get a comedian to sell out or close to selling out an arena like that. Like, not many comedians can do that.
No.
He is on that level right now. And it's cool, too, because they bring like up-and-coming comedians with them that are hilarious, too. So make sure you get there. That's Saturday, May 18th. Those Saturday shows at Wells Fargo are awesome, too. So to get him on a Saturday and Cody Johnson on a Friday, HiVTix.com for your tickets for that.
I'm taking my daughter Cameron to her first concert ever tomorrow.
Nice.
She's a music nut. And we have been watching Cody Johnson and Justin Moore YouTube concerts for like 10 straight days. Cammy's got all the songs memorized. It's going to be awesome.
You're taking Elise too, or just Cammy?
Yeah, Elise is going too.
Nice.
Yeah. Elise knows all the songs too, man. They listen to them when they're riding around with me. It'd be a good family affair.
You know, I saw my first ever concert at Wells Fargo Arena. It was
really?
2006.
It had to be some sort of like punk rock.
No.
I know you back then.
No, my dad took me to see The Who.
Oh,
The Who,
okay.
the old band The Who. They did like a reunion tour. It was amazing. My dad was into old rock and roll, and he got me into it. So we had an awesome time. It was something I'll never forget. So that'll be a fun experience for you and the girls.
All right, so there's a lot here that we haven't been able to get to. I'm just going to pick and choose a few things.
Can I jump in, because there's a comment from Gus that I wanted to
What do we got,
pull up
Gus?
here? He wants to know if we've talked about Gary Dolphin's comment about me. Did you see that?
No, what did he say?
Blake Hornstein asked him about me. I think Van Wink's got it here. Do you have it, Van Winks?
No, there's another guy I'm thinking of right now that could be a candidate for this color commentator job, Chris Hassel. How about Gary Dolphin and Gary Dolphin in the booth? What do you say to that?
He's got to get a better hairpiece, so if he's going to be the true emulation of Gary Dolphin. But Chris is one of my favorite people. I've always said, if you're in the broadcast booth, every game is not going to go your way. You're going to get your butts kicked some weekends. You better have a sense of humor. I learned that a long time ago. Hassel would be perfect for the position.
You better believe it, buddy boy.
What's funny to me is there are actually the people out there that think this is a possibility.
So it's not?
Come on. Are you kidding me? I mean, I know I'm personally friends with one of the top guys at Learfield who's going to help make this decision.
Yeah.
And he has not contacted me about this position. Look, this is going to go to a former player who's a color commentator. As much as I'd love to go in there and do it as Ed or as Gary.
One game only. How about the Cyhawk game?
Oh, my God.
We'll get you in the booth for the Cyhawk game.
Look,
God.
I'll be your stats guy. Statty. I'm there.
I would get myself in trouble.
It would be a disaster.
I mean, can you imagine?
And I'm
on the call on the Hawkeye Radio Network as Cade McNamara limps around and.
God damn it! He's hurt again. He's so fucking fragile.
Now, I'd love to do that. But like I can't. I could if I could not be enough of a homer.
No, you couldn't. You're incapable of it.
Like, I've got to be able to tell the truth. And that's a problem. And I've always known that I would have it if I ever become like I was a finalist for like an NBA job, an NBA play-by-play job. And I just didn't could I be
You could at that level.
homer enough? It's not my personality to not be truthful.
Yeah,
you know?
but when you're doing play-by-play for TV, I feel like it's different than those radio jobs.
Sure.
Because even if you're,
I could do it, but would I be able to live with myself? Would it be enjoyable for me to I just can't
you would have to
imagine
take a huge pay cut. I mean, I can't imagine that the color guy for Iowa radio probably even makes a livable wage. I don't know, but
maybe I could. There are people. The dude that does the Raiders, the Vegas Raiders radio job, he lives in New York.
He probably has another job. Yeah, you could
sometimes you can
still
but
work at CBS.
This isn't one of those jobs. You need somebody, and I think this is for in this case, the Ed Podolak situation. I don't think was ideal because he didn't live in Iowa. He was great, and he was grandfathered in, and fans loved him. But I think for this position, I'm gonna guess, and I don't know exactly what they're looking for, but I think they should try to find a guy who's living in the area, a guy who can be more visible.
I would just love to
during the
see
year.
Dallas or one of those guys, who everybody just loves, who lives in the state.
Dallas Clark was the first guy that popped into my head.
Yeah, he's
But,
a no-brainer if you can get him, but he's already got more money than God.
And is he going to want to give up every single
I
fall
think he
Saturday?
has young kids that he's probably going to their games, and who knows? It's not. I will say that it's not as luxurious as you would think. Because I think Iowa has an engineer actually that travels with them, but John and Eric don't. They set up their gear. They have for football they have an engineer, but for basketball you don't. You're setting up that equipment, you're tearing it down, you're running to the bus. It's fun. I love doing it when I have the privilege to fill in for John with basketball. But my point is, it's not really a full-time gig for most people.
It's not a full-time gig. The radio color analyst job is not a full-time gig. The play-by-play job can be a full-time gig.
Correct.
Even though Gary Dolphin at times has worked several other jobs while he's also doing the Iowa play-by-play job. There are some places where they can make it a full-time job. Walters has a full-time job.
Yeah, but he works
in the athletic department.
Correct. Yeah, he's doing Cyclones TV stuff.
Play-by-play is part of that job.
Yep, exactly.
But in most places around the country, the play-by-play job is not a full-time job.
Correct. Most of those guys, yeah, they have another play-by. A lot of them, the big-time ones, I'm doing football this time of year, and then I'm going to go do my basketball job in this area of the country during basketball season, something like that. Really quick, I just need to get to a couple of things here. Van Winkle tried to run over the Bondurant fox. He was sending us images last night.
This fox is on a freaking rampage. It's eating bunnies in the neighborhood.
What is that eating right there? Is that a cat?
It's a bunny.
Dude, I did see that thing over by the library. And that
thing, it lives by the library. It's gonna get a kid one of these days.
You know, I think it's the librarian's pet fox.
I will tell you, that son of a bitch does look sick when you see it in person.
Look at it.
It's all gangly.
It is.
But you found out last night that thing is feeding a family.
It is. Yeah, it's got at least
pups.
Look at these babies.
At least
where the hell is that picture taken at?
Somebody on Facebook. Share it. This is a divisive subject on the Bondurant community Facebook page.
So if I just went into the storage room, got in the safe, and pulled out my 22 and went over to the library right now, you're telling me it wouldn't go over well?
Do not.
These
are your mascots, man. This is great. You should be thankful that you have the fox.
Matt,
and now
you
a whole
got
family.
this video
Yes,
right here?
I was driving home last night, and it was sitting on the edge of see where the road is there? It was sitting right on the edge of the road, and I nearly ran it over. It scurried back into the grass, and I pulled over and got this video.
As Cole points out, the fox is saving people's gardens.
Oh, great point,
Like you
Cole.
would, Andy Fales, he would pay good money to have a fox roaming his neighborhood
Those
because
rabbits
he hates bunnies getting into his garden.
Pain in the ass, man. In fact, we went out and built a huge raised garden last year because of all those damn rabbits.
I just hope that the fox is a little bit more careful because it seems like it's hanging out on roads and intersections way too much.
I tell you what the fox is doing, it's hanging out with the wrong crowd. Right? Like it was all fun and games, and now he's testing people now. It's not cute anymore. It's just murdering things. And I'll tell you, like, it took me looking in that thing's eyes to see the evil. Because I was kind of on yours, and I looked in its eyes yesterday, and I was like, damn, that thing is not what I thought it was. Speaking of you, Van Winks, I gotta get your advice, Hassel, about Van Winkle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
He
God.
texted me yesterday that the 49ers are playing at Minnesota again this year. So 2 years in a row, the Vikings are hosting the 49ers. And I got to be honest with you, like, we had a really good time.
Great time.
When we went to this game last year. It
Well,
was a lot of fun.
Except for the
We had
outcome.
a very fun time. But after Van Winkle's display at my Super Bowl party, where he was just absolutely having an outburst, just mocking 49 or Chiefs fans, just being a total dick for 3.5, 4. I don't know if I should take him to Minneapolis again. I'm seriously like having second thoughts about this because it's like if he can do that in my home to my friends and family who are Chiefs fans, I don't know if I want him sitting next to me in the shrine that is U.S. Bank Stadium, right?
Well, and also he had that horrible, horrible exchange a couple shows ago where he can't even comprehend anyone saying that Brock Purdy isn't a top 3 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, not
like he's
not
like,
even like top
you know,
5,
I could see maybe putting Mahomes ahead of him. Maybe.
No, I said Lamar Jackson.
Maybe Lamar Jackson, but nobody else.
I said he should be 3. I said Mahomes, Jackson.
I know. You're insane.
Hey, remember how Williams acted though in the stands? He was right in my face the whole game.
Yeah, I'm in Minneapolis. It's a Vikings game.
You were the only one in our group that was a Vikings fan. You brought 4 or 5 49ers fans with you.
And they're not bitching.
That's
you
your
see
fault.
them whining? You see them crying?
That is your fault, Williams, for bringing fans of the opposing
That's
team.
why I don't know if I can test my luck. I don't know if I can test it again.
Hey, we're 59 minutes into this show, and I'm not.
That's a great picture.
I'm not going to let this happen. Okay, we have not talked Iowa State at all. People
talking
are
Brock Purdy.
pissed. Zach,
The
do you want us to
uniforms.
talk about?
The uniforms are still not been announced. Is that
where
is
are
that
these
what you want?
goddamn uniforms that were supposed to be coming out on May the 4th? Be with you for the stormtroopers. Is there anything Iowa State related that you mentioned Audie Crooks a couple of times?
There's nothing going on with Iowa State right now.
We haven't even talked about Caitlin Clark's first WNBA game.
Yeah. We talked about the NIL. I mean, we literally been quoting Jamie Pollard. Does that count?
Yes. Okay. So we have. All right. So good. We've taken care of the Iowa State talk.
What do you want? Okay, fine. Hey,
listen,
Iowa State.
No. We're done.
They're holding a press conference because they're playing a game in Ireland. Let's talk about it. Okay.
No, thanks.
That game's in a year. They're playing Kansas State.
We have to at least hit on Caitlin Clark's first game. What was your overall?
It was about what I thought it would be. Really a ton of buzz. I've always thought that there would be growing pains for all of this crop of rookies, and you're seeing it across the board. I just hope people stick with it. It wasn't a great game. It was an awesome atmosphere, and it drew huge numbers, 2.3 million at its peak. Most watched WNBA games since 2001. And
that's huge for ESPN2. I mean, that's a big number for ESPN2. I
just hope people stick with it. Like I could see that. Like,
that's
these
where
numbers.
I'm at. I'm going to try not to make some kind of rash judgment like my dad did. My dad was like, "This is the WNBA." Like I can't watch this. I don't think he's going to watch another game. I will. I'm going to give it a few games to see.
I actually think I might buy the package.
It was tough to watch. It really was, especially that first half. But
it's not as good of a product as the college game is. Yeah.
No, it's not. But also, you have to realize, what did they have? 2 weeks to prepare?
Yeah.
I feel like the product has to be better a month down the road than it is right now. And Caitlin Clark, she was bad. That was a bad game. She had 10 turnovers. Like, you can't sugarcoat that. Yeah, she had 20 points, but she had 10 turnovers. That was not a good game. In any way. And the thing that worried me most was that she was not able to get on the boards at all. And
don't overreact.
Look, I'm not overreacting. I'm just saying it's a bad game. It was her first game. She's had no break whatsoever from the college.
Angel Reese played pretty well last night. Did you watch?
She was okay.
Yeah, but in the second half, she really clicked. She looked pretty good. I watched a little bit of that.
What was she? 4 of 12 from the field. She was okay.
Brink Clark was okay.
Who? I didn't see Cameron Brink.
Yeah, she had she was okay. It was very Reese-ish.
Caitlin Clark is going to have many better games.
Yeah, and she's got a target on her back. All of these professional players, who in many cases are bigger than her, are using these games as a way to show out.
Oh, yeah. And
there is a target on her back.
Against grown-ass women. All right? Mm-hmm. That woman that was guarding her was on her like a glove. I mean, they're
pissed off too. Many of them are pissed off because they think that this is just a fact. You can say it's wrong. They are pissed.
And that's
why aren't
what
you
it's taking
taking pictures of me walking down the thing in my outfit, putting it on Instagram?
And those passes she used to make in college basketball, where she'd throw it over the top and somebody would be down there under the hoop for a lay-in. There's more length. There's more size. There's more talent.
She'll adjust.
She's going to adjust. Bad first game, but she will be better. I would be willing to bet her performance tonight will be significantly better. I believe they play tonight, correct?
Yes. Yep.
So I'm not going to overreact about Caitlin Clark, about the coach of that team, who got a lot of hate, about
my sister,
the team in general, or about the WNBA product as a whole.
My sister was texting me firing the Fever's coach on Tuesday night. She's done with her.
My dad was ready to bring in Bluder. She's available now.
Fire this woman 2 weeks in and bring in Lisa Bluder.
Let's just take a breath, reset, This Fever team has been really bad for years. The Sun were really good. They were one of the better teams in the league.
It's interesting that they are the Sun, and then there's the Suns.
I was thinking about that today.
It's fascinating to me.
It sounds weird because we're used to the Suns, but there's only one Sun.
Yeah. The Suns just doesn't even make sense.
So why? Yeah, it should just be the Sun, not the Suns.
Yeah,
I think Phoenix has it wrong.
You could say that. Well, yeah, figured that out. Cheers to the freaking weekend from our friends at Steeple Ridge Bourbon. You should go buy yourself a bottle while you're in Iowa. Hassel, go over yourself and get drunk this weekend. I'm kind of debating. So my weekend is full of concert, Cody Johnson show tomorrow. I'm going to go on Saturday. The Turtles have a game at 10. And then I'm going to do one of two things with my daughters. I'm either going to go down to Pella to watch some NCAA tournament D3 softball and support my friend George Wares, who's the coach down there at Central. Mm-hmm. Or I also have a relative running at state track. So I might take the girls down to Drake and do that. We don't know which one we're doing yet based on like times, but it'll be fun. I like taking the girls out and broadening their horizons a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to smoke a ton of meat. I'm going to smoke more meat on Saturday and Sunday.
I'm sorry, anytime you bring up your daughters, I just think of that tweet about how you said that you're going to force them into an early marriage and tell them to stay away from the workforce and just stay at home.
Dude,
be a good
my
mom.
My daughter, Cammie, saw that. She's a religious Today Show watcher. My daughter gets up at 6:30 every day to watch Today in Iowa, and then she watches the Today Show before school. I'm not kidding. She's the oldest 9-year-old you've ever seen. And they did a piece on that today, and she was pissed. Like, she was ready to be violent, and she was so pissed that he brought up Taylor Swift in that speech. That's all she could think about. Her direct quote for me is, "I hope Travis kicks his ass."
Oh my God!
And I was like,
"Wait,
Cammie,
what?
that's the
Your
first
daughter
cuss word."
said that?
Yes, first cuss word she's ever said. She was so pissed that Taylor Swift got brought into this because Taylor Swift is her icon. You know, that is her idol.
Can I give a quick cheers?
What are you doing this weekend, Matt?
Well,
yeah, give us a cheers.
Well, I was gonna cheers the Chargers social media department for.
Oh, that's good.
Wow, sorry, that was too loud. They put together the Sims for their schedule release, like a recreation of the Sims for each of their teams, their opponents. It's incredible if you haven't seen it.
It's really good.
Have you seen it? Hassel,
No, I haven't seen it because I will say, like, some of these videos over the years have been great. But I think the NFL schedule release is one of the most overrated things in sports. Like, I do not
love it,
care at all.
I love it.
Because we already have a list of who the teams are going to play. Why do I care? Well, that game's going to be week 3. That game's going to be on Netflix. Like, I don't give a damn.
The
What's
Chiefs,
that one?
they recreated the Travis Kelce and his brother's podcast, and Taylor Swift shows up to the door, and Travis Kelce runs away on the private jet.
And then they had Harrison Butker.
Yeah.
Later on, in the second time they played
In the kitchen.
Chiefs, Harrison Butker's in the kitchen cooking for everyone, and he catches it on fire. It's so funny.
Unbelievable.
These social media departments are, man, that was good stuff. What are you doing this weekend, Hassel? You just going to nurse Don back to health?
Yeah, I've got him at my teat. Some son's milk. Can
he drink?
No, he's on oxycodone.
I don't know.
That's how
I don't know the rules.
Famous people die. They're on oxycodone, and then they drink, and they do other drugs, and no, he can't. He can't drive. I think next week, maybe in a week or so, he'll get his first old fashioned post op.
All right. Well, let's get out of here. We're about 12 minutes late today. That's okay, though. We started a little late. We're good. Appreciate you all watching. Thanks to Fareway Meat and Grocery, our friends at Channel Seeds. They are...
It's Channel Seed.
Seed, yeah. I know. I botched it. It's great having a co-host that just jumps on your ass anytime you mispronounce anything.
I keep you in... Oh, by the way, I missed one last show, according to our good friend Andy Fales.
Oh, God. He's worse than you.
He said, I like how Williams says Saudi. He says Saudi. Like when you're talking about Saudi Arabia or...
It's the Saudis.
He says that you say Saudi.
Saudi.
Oh, you know, those Saudis are going to be coming in and they're to take over Boise State.
What a random thing that I came up with there too. But hey, it's what happens when you're live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine the king, the Saudi king, walking around the streets of Boise? I'm buying that coffee shop.
Where
I'm putting that restaurant out of business.
I asked this because I know there are Iowa State fans who are going to be pissed that we didn't talk more about them on this program. Where can we direct them to get more Iowa State coverage?
Here's the thing.
Today?
Bloom and I do 2 podcasts a week on Cyclone Fanatic, and I don't even think we talked about Iowa State on Wednesday. We talked about all this name, image, and likeness. Like, there's nothing going on.
Yeah, I know. It's just
like
somebody suggested we talk
side.
about all the returning production that Iowa State football has this season. Like that, how do we make a topic of conversation about that other than to say, yeah, they have some of the most returning production of anybody in the country this year? That's good. I think Iowa, I think, is up there as well.
Why do you always have to bring Iowa into it? Get the hell out of here. Have a great weekend, everybody. We love you all. Thanks for listening, watching, however you consume our product here at Iowa Everywhere.